Greetings, and welcome once again to JC Pilcher's Age of Ornon vlog. Well, I'm continuing today with the second part of the series that I started last time, and that was what a religious education does not do. The first point was that it doesn't ensure that the person who's getting that education is going to get godly character. The second one is that it will not make a person have a good understanding of God's Word. We often assume in our churches that because a man has more education that he is more qualified to preach or teach, and that's really just a fallacy. It makes sense from our human standpoint, but it's not necessarily the case. Unfortunately, from my experience, I'm learning that a religious education is often one of the more detrimental things to a person who is studying in the ministry. While I'm personally really happy with the school I attend, which is Liberty University, I really like the stance that they take on things. I realize that the vast majority of seminaries out there are just full of heretical liberal theology that is training really a pastor in a way that is going to be detrimental to the churches he teaches and to his own theology. And so he'd be better off just spending his time studying the Word and hanging around godly men than he would be going to some of these seminaries. And so I would caution people going into seminary that just getting a degree from a seminary is not always the best thing. You know, in light of this, we should remember that Jesus said, "A disciple is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master." Now what this means is that the person who is trained ultimately will be like the one who trained him. And so it's important to be sure when you get a trainer or a seminary that it's from a person who is godly and who you're going to want to be like. This is why governments throughout history, oppressive governments, have always wanted to control schools, because they know that they can train the next generation to be whatever kind of people they want them to be. Usually that means people who are willing to subjugate themselves to that government. So it is very important who you get your education from. With this thought in mind, it is better in most cases for a young leader not to be seminary trained at all, really. In most cases, it will be harmful to him unless it is a good college. And even in that case, it doesn't guarantee that he's going to know his Bible right. It is only advisable if he finds a Bible-believing college where the truth of God is taught. This would also rule out getting a religious education from a secular source, and I've always been confused by this, why someone would want to get a degree in religion or something of that matter from a college that isn't Christian. There's no such thing as neutrality. A secular college is just another word to say a humanistic college or almost an atheistic college, and so you're going to get bad theology if you get your education in a religious field from such a place. So really, you should only consider going to seminary, one, if God's actually leading you in that direction, and two, if that is a godly college. In the end, seminary, no matter how good or how bad, it does not necessarily teach the Bible. What it usually does is it teaches the interpretation that the people who run that college, agree with. Sure, you'll get views from the other side, but what it'll be is most likely is some sort of slanted view against those views that they disagree with and for those views that they agree with. Simple fact of the matter is you'll never be able to get rid of biases, and so it's just necessary that you go into a college where they're going to teach the biases that are actually right. So that's pretty much the conclusion of that number 2 point. An education doesn't ensure that you're going to know your Bible. It's probably going to ensure that you know the interpretation of the Bible that you prefer. So just because your pastor or someone has a really nice education doesn't mean that they're right all the time. So just be discerning when it comes to getting pastors, and if you're a person in ministry, don't think that your education all of a sudden makes you know more than everybody else in your church. I've been taught by many people who had a whole lot less education than me. So with that said, God bless and have a great day.